I discovered my husband was sleeping with his sister, and it destroyed my life. Hi everyone, I'm completely wrecked and just need to vent because my life is falling apart. This is a long story, so grab some popcorn. I'm 32, my husband Tom is also 32, we've been married for 7 years, no kids. I'll try to lay it all out in order so you can understand how I reached my breaking point. If anything's unclear, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. How it all started: Tom and I met in college during our sophomore year. Nothing special, he was a cute guy from my economics class and we sat next to each other during lectures. He was always the life of the party, cracking jokes, helping with notes. One day, we were studying for an exam in the library, he suggested grabbing coffee, and things just took off. Typical love story: flowers, dates, late-night talks. Everything was sweet, no drama. But here's something I noticed back then. Tom has a twin sister, Linda. They were extremely close. I mean, not just like siblings, but like they lived in their own little world. They were constantly texting, calling, laughing over their inside jokes. Linda was in the same department as us, and I often saw them giggling together or hugging like best friends. It didn't bother me, but sometimes it felt odd. For example, she'd just plop down on his lap while we were all hanging out in the dorm. I thought, well, it's family, probably normal. Tom and I started dating, and a couple of years later, we got married. Everything was great. We had a cozy apartment, good jobs, plans for the future. Linda got married about a year after us to a guy named Mike. We all hung out, visited each other. It was like a fairy tale. But then everything went sideways. About 6 months ago, Linda divorced Mike. Their marriage lasted 5 years, and I never knew the details of why they split. Tom said Mike was just a jerk, and Linda vaguely mentioned they weren't compatible. Fine, I didn't pry. Some context: their dad died 3 years ago from a heart attack, and their mom passed when we were 20 from cancer. Linda was left completely alone, with no family or home, because Mike kicked her out of their apartment. It was in his name. Tom, being the loving brother, immediately offered for her to stay with us until she got back on her feet. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed. I didn't want to be the wife who says no to family. Linda moved in with us 3 months ago, and from that moment my life turned into a nightmare. At first it was bearable. She helped around the house, cooked dinner, was polite. But then I started noticing how she was manipulating Tom. She constantly complained about panic attacks, saying she was scared to be alone. Tom, of course, rushed to comfort her, hugging her, stroking her hair, sitting with her for hours. I tried to be understanding, but it started to grate on me. He was spending more time with her than with me. For example, we'd plan to watch a movie together, but he'd cancel because Linda's not doing well, I need to talk to her. But the real absurdity started a week ago. Linda announced she was having nightmares and asked Tom to sleep in the same bed with her to make her feel safe. I thought it was a joke, but Tom, he agreed. He said, it's just temporary, she's depressed, she needs time. I was floored. What the hell? She's his sister, not a child. I tried talking to him, but he brushed me off. You're overreacting, it's just family support. I felt like a third wheel in my own home. I couldn't take it anymore. I packed my bags and went to my mom's to think things over. I love Tom, but this was too much. I couldn't live with this circus. While I was at my mom's, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Mike, Linda's ex-husband. He said he heard from mutual friends that I'd left Tom and decided to tell me the truth. I'm still in shock from what he said. Apparently, Linda and Mike didn't divorce for no reason. Mike caught her texting Tom messages that were not sibling-like. He said Linda confessed to him that in college, she and Tom had a romantic relationship. Yes, you read that right, a romance. They even got to the point where Linda got pregnant by Tom, but she miscarried. After that, they supposedly stopped, but Mike says Linda is still obsessed with Tom. And the worst part, when Tom went on a business trip a couple of months ago, before Linda moved in, he was actually with her. They went away for the weekend together, and Linda later bragged to Mike that things were back to how they used to be. By the way, about that business trip, I already felt something was off. Tom said he was going to a work conference but came back after one day, even though he said it'd be a week. His shirt smelled like perfume I don't use, and he was too happy. I asked about the perfume, and he laughed it off, saying, probably some lady doused in perfume sat next to me on the plane. I believed him then, but now it all adds up. What now? I'm completely stunned. My husband might have been cheating on me with his own sister. It sounds like a plot from a cheap soap opera, but this is my real life. I don't know what to do. Divorce? Talk to Tom? Talk to Linda? I'm scared that if I dig deeper, I'll find something even worse. But I can't stay silent, I feel betrayed. Please give me advice on what to do. I just want my normal life back. Update 1. Thank you all for the support and advice. I've read all your comments, and many of you are right. I need to gather more information and talk to Tom. But honestly, I'm not ready yet. I'm still at my mom's, and I need time to collect my thoughts. A few things have happened in the last few days, and I want to share them because they raise even more questions. First, Linda started texting me. At first, she just asked when I'd be back and apologized for taking my place. But then her messages got weird. She wrote something like, "You don't understand how hard it is to be me. Tom is the only one who supports me. I wouldn't survive without him." I didn't respond, but it sounds like she's trying to justify her closeness with him. I showed the messages to my mom, and she said Linda sounds like a manipulator. Second, I remembered another weird thing. When Linda first moved in, she kept wearing Tom's clothes. I mean his t-shirts, hoodies. I thought it was because she didn't have many things after the divorce, but now it feels like marking her territory. I don't know how to describe it, but it creeps me out. I haven't talked to Tom about what Mike told me yet. I'm scared he'll deny everything, and I'm not ready for that conversation without proof. One of you suggested checking Tom's phone or his messages with Linda. I've never snooped through his phone before, but maybe it's time? The thought of it makes me nauseous. Update 2, guys, I'm in agony. Things got even worse. I went back home to talk to Tom, but it was a nightmare. I started by asking why he agreed to sleep in the same bed as Linda. He got defensive, saying I was blowing things out of proportion and that he just wanted to help his sister, who was on the edge. I couldn't hold back and told him about Mike's call. He went pale, like he'd seen a ghost. But instead of explaining, he started yelling that Mike was a liar trying to ruin their family. I asked to see his phone. He refused. Then I said I'd leave if he wasn't honest with me. And then Linda, who was in the next room the whole time, burst in and started screaming at me that I was destroying their family and that I never understood their bond. I was in shock. She was acting like I was the outsider and they were the real couple. I ended up leaving for my mom's again, but before I left, I noticed a plane ticket on the table. Tom and Linda are planning to fly somewhere together next week. I snapped a photo of it while they were arguing in the other room. It's a ticket to Mexico, to a resort. A resort. They're going together, and it's definitely not a business trip. Update 3. Sorry for not writing sooner. I needed time to process everything. Thank you to everyone who's messaged and supported me. I still don't know how to move forward, but here's what's happened in the last 2 weeks. I hired a lawyer. Yes, I've decided to file for divorce. After learning about the Mexico trip, I realized I can't trust Tom anymore. But that's not all. I contacted Mike again, and he told me more. Apparently, Linda had been trying to sabotage our marriage for years. For example, she'd accidentally send me messages meant to make me jealous, like, "Oh, Tom was so sweet today, he made me breakfast." Mike said she's obsessed with the idea that she and Tom belong together and blames me for stealing her life. But here's what broke me. Mike showed me old letters Linda wrote to him when they were still married. In one, she mentioned having not one, but 2 miscarriages, both from Tom, one in college and another a couple of years later. I don't know how to process this. It's not just cheating, I don't even know what to call it. It's beyond comprehension. I haven't told Tom about the divorce yet, but my lawyer is preparing the papers. I also hired a private investigator to gather evidence about their Mexico trip. I don't know why I need this, but I want to know the whole truth, no matter how awful it is. Update 4. I'm writing this from a cafe right now because I need to get it out. Yesterday, I got a report from the investigator, and it's worse than I could have imagined. Tom and Linda didn't just go to Mexico. They checked into the hotel as a couple. 1 room, 1 bed. The investigator even sent me photos of them kissing on the beach. I cried all night. This isn't just betrayal. It's like they're living in their own parallel reality where I don't exist. But here's the weird part. I started digging into their past and found an old college friend of Tom's who knew them both. He told me that in college, Tom and Linda had a reputation as a weird couple. No one said outright that they were romantic, but everyone noticed they were too close. For example, they'd often go off alone together, and once someone saw them holding hands like a couple. I'm starting to think their relationship never stopped. I also learned that Linda recently started working at the same company as Tom. They see each other every day now, and apparently, their coworkers think they're just cute twins. No one knows the truth. I haven't officially filed for divorce yet because I want to gather as much evidence as possible. But I've made my decision. I'm done. My mom says I need to start a new life, and I'm starting to think she's right. I've booked a therapist to help me sort through this chaos in my head. What's next? I don't know how this story will end. I feel broken, but also angry. I want them both to face consequences for what they've done. Maybe I'll post those photos somewhere so everyone knows the truth. Or is that too petty? I don't know. I just want the pain to stop. Thank you for reading. If you have advice on how to move forward, I'd love to hear it. And yes, I promise to keep you updated. This isn't over yet. Update 5, I thought it couldn't get worse, but I was wrong. A new twist in this insane story. Hi, Reddit. Thank you to everyone who's been following my story and supporting me. I'm still in shock from everything that's happening, and honestly, I didn't think this situation could get any crazier. But I underestimated the scale of this nightmare. Buckle up, because this update is a bombshell. What happened since the last post after getting the photos from the investigator, I was in a complete daze. Seeing your husband kiss his sister on a beach in Mexico isn't something you just process in a day. I started seeing a therapist, and she's helping me cope with the betrayal, but it still feels like I'm living in a horror movie. I decided to file for divorce once I had enough evidence to ensure Tom and Linda couldn't wiggle out of it. But here's what happened 3 days ago. I got a letter, not an email, but an actual paper letter in an envelope with no return address. Inside were a few old photos and a note. The photos showed Tom and Linda as teenagers around 16-17. They're hugging, holding hands, and in one they're kissing, like a couple. The note was short. You deserve the truth. They were never just brother and sister. Sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Kay. I sat staring at those photos for 20 minutes, unable to move. Who is Kay? Where did these photos come from? And why send them to me now? I immediately thought it could be someone from their past, maybe a friend of Linda's or a classmate. But why anonymously? I scanned the photos and sent them to Mike, Linda's ex, asking if he knew who Kay was. He said he had no idea but confirmed the photos looked real. He recognized their old school in the background from their hometown suburb. A new twist. I decided to dig deeper. I reached out to the same college friend of Tom's I'd spoken to before, let's call him Jake. I showed him the photos, and he went pale. He said there were rumors in high school that Tom and Linda had an unhealthy closeness, but no one took it seriously because, well, who would think a brother and sister could be that close? Jake remembered a girl named Kaitlyn, possibly the Kay, who was Linda's friend in high school. She once caught them in a compromising situation and stopped talking to Linda afterward. Jake doesn't know where she is now, but promised to try to find her contact info. I also spoke to the investigator who followed Tom and Linda. He said their behavior in Mexico was so blatant that even the hotel staff noticed. One maid allegedly overheard Linda call Tom the love of my life during dinner. I nearly threw up when he told me that. The investigator also found that Linda recently transferred a large sum of money to Tom, about $10,000. I have no idea where she got that kind of money. She's supposedly jobless, and it's seriously unsettling. The shocking moment, and now, hold on tight. Yesterday, I got another letter. This time, no photos, just a note. It read, "Check their DNA, they're not twins." Kay, I froze. Not twins? What does that even mean? Tom and Linda always said they were twins, born on the same day, and their parents always confirmed it. But now I started recalling small details. They don't look that similar. Tom has light hair and blue eyes, while Linda has dark hair and brown eyes. I always thought it was just genetics, but now, what if they're not even related? Or maybe they're half-siblings? Or is this some sick lie they made up to justify their relationship? I don't know how to check their DNA without raising suspicion, but I've already contacted my lawyer to discuss whether we can access old medical records or birth certificates. If they're not twins, it changes everything. It means their parents were hiding something, and their entire family history is a lie. I'm not even sure I want to keep digging, because every new fact makes this situation more insane. How I'm feeling, I'm a mess. Part of me wants to drop everything, file for divorce, and move far away to forget this nightmare. But another part wants to uncover the truth, no matter how horrific. I can't believe my life has turned into this thriller. I'm starting to suspect that Tom and Linda aren't just too close as siblings, there's something much darker going on. Maybe their parents knew? Maybe that's why their mom died so young, from stress or something else. I'm coming up with all sorts of theories, and it's driving me crazy. I also noticed that Linda has started calling me. I don't pick up, but she leaves voicemails that sound either threatening or pleading. In the latest one, she said, "You don't understand what you're doing. You're destroying our family." What family, Linda? I was your family, and you stole my husband. What's next? I'm planning to meet Jake next week to learn more about Kaitlyn and her possible role in this. I've also asked the investigator to look into where Linda got that $10,000 and what it's for. And of course, I'm trying to figure out how to check their DNA. Does anyone know how to do this discreetly? I don't want them to know I'm digging. I'm also considering confronting Tom about the letters and the DNA. But I'm scared he'll deny everything again, or, worse, try to intimidate me. Linda's already shown she can be aggressive, and I don't know what she's capable of. Thank you all for your support. I'm only holding it together because of your messages and advice. If you have ideas on what to do with this new twist, how to find Kaitlyn, or how to check DNA, please let me know. I promise to keep you updated. This story is getting more tangled, and I feel the truth is still out there. Update 6. I found Kaitlyn, and the truth is getting crazier. It's not over yet, but I'm close. Hi, Reddit. I haven't slept in 2 days because every new piece of this puzzle turns my world upside down. Thank you for your advice and support. You're really helping me stay sane. After the last update, I decided I couldn't just sit and wait for things to resolve themselves. I went all in to uncover the truth. Here's what I found. Kaitlyn and her revelations. With Jake's help, I tracked down Kaitlyn, the K from the letters. She lives in another state but agreed to talk to me over video call. Kaitlyn is about 35, calm, but visibly uncomfortable when she started talking about Tom and Linda. She confirmed she sent the photos and the note. Her reason? "I'm tired of staying silent. You don't deserve what they're doing to you." Kaitlyn said that in high school, she was Linda's best friend. They were inseparable until she started noticing oddities in Linda and Tom's relationship. When they were 17, she caught them in Linda's room, not just kissing, but in a situation she described as definitely not sibling-like. Kaitlyn was shocked and tried talking to Linda, who got aggressive, accused her of making it all up, and cut off their friendship. Kaitlyn tried telling their parents, but their dad brushed it off. And their mom looked like she knew more than she let on but begged Kaitlyn not to ruin the family. The most shocking part, Kaitlyn confirmed that Tom and Linda might not be twins. She recalled Linda once letting slip that she was adopted when she was about a year old. Their mom couldn't have kids after Tom due to complications, so they adopted Linda from an orphanage. But officially, they always called them twins to avoid questions. Kaitlyn isn't sure if Tom and Linda knew the truth from the start, but she suspects their parents hid it to keep the family together. When I asked why she stayed silent for so long, Kaitlyn said she was scared of Linda. "She can be terrifyingly manipulative," she said. DNA and new evidence. After talking to Kaitlyn, I decided I needed a DNA test. But how to do it without Tom or Linda finding out? My lawyer suggested a private lab that works with non-standard samples. I remembered I still had Linda's hairbrush and Tom's toothbrush at home. Yes, I felt like a spy in a cheap movie, but I collected the items and sent them to the lab. They promised results in a week. Meanwhile, the investigator dug up more. The $10,000 Linda transferred to Tom, it was part of their dad's inheritance, which Linda got after his death. But here's the kicker. Tom got his share of the inheritance 3 years ago, and we spent it in a couple of months. Linda, apparently, kept her share in a separate account and didn't touch it until recently. The investigator thinks the money might be preparation for their new life together. Maybe they're planning to run off or start fresh. Confronting Tom, I couldn't hold back and decided to talk to Tom. It was a mistake. I asked him to meet me at a cafe to avoid a scene at home. I directly asked about Linda, the Mexico photos, Kaitlyn's letters, and whether they're really twins. He looked like he'd been punched. At first, he tried to deny everything, but when I showed him a copy of the photo of them kissing on the beach, he broke. He started mumbling about complicated relationships, and "you don't understand our bond." I lost it and told him I knew about their college romance and Linda's miscarriages. He went silent. Then he said, "Linda and I have always been more than brother and sister. You can't understand that." I walked out without listening further. It was too much. I felt crushed. My husband, the man I loved for 7 years, was living a double life. And the worst part, he didn't even seem guilty. He acted like I was the problem. Update 7. DNA results and a new shock. It's almost over. Guys, I got the DNA results. It's official. Tom and Linda are not related. Linda was adopted, and Tom is their parents' biological son. The lab confirmed they have no shared genetic markers indicating siblinghood. I sat with the results in my hands and cried, not from grief, but from relief. At least it's not incest. But it doesn't change the fact that they lied to me for years, pretending to be twins to hide their relationship. I also learned that their mom knew the truth. Kaitlyn told me she once overheard their parents talking, where their mom was crying and saying she was scared for the kids. She feared their relationship was spiraling out of control, but their dad insisted they keep up the twin facade to protect the family. This explains why their mom died so young. Kaitlyn thinks the stress of this secret ruined her health. My lawyer says I have enough evidence for a divorce with maximum benefits. The photos, DNA results, statements from Mike, Kaitlyn, and the investigator all prove infidelity and deception. I also found out that Linda tried to sue me for slander, but my lawyer shut it down quickly by showing her texts with Tom, which the investigator obtained. They were discussing how to get rid of me and start a new life. The final shock, and here's the last twist. 2 days ago, I got another letter from Kaitlyn. It contained a copy of their mom's old diary, which Kaitlyn found among her aunt's things. Her aunt was a family friend. In the diary, their mom wrote that Linda was her sister's daughter, who died in childbirth. They adopted Linda and decided to hide it from everyone, including Linda, so she'd feel like a full part of the family. But when Linda and Tom started getting close as teenagers, their mom suspected something was wrong and tried to separate them by sending Linda to summer camps and extracurriculars. It didn't work. Their relationship started at 15 and has continued ever since. Update 8. I'm free, the story is over. Today, I filed for divorce. Tom didn't fight it, he signed all the papers without a word. Linda tried to throw a fit, but her lawyer quickly shut her up because the evidence against them was ironclad. The court awarded me the apartment, half our joint savings, and compensation for emotional distress. Tom and Linda moved out of town. I heard they relocated to another state and are living together. I don't know how they explain it to people, and honestly, I don't care. I met Kaitlyn in person. She's an incredibly warm person and apologized for not telling me the truth sooner. She said she was scared of Linda, who once threatened her with physical violence when they were teens. Kaitlyn gave me a copy of their mom's diary, and I read it cover to cover. It's the saddest, scariest document I've ever seen. Their mom blamed herself for not stopping their relationship and died with that guilt. I'm still working with my therapist, and it's helping. I've started reconnecting with friends I'd nearly abandoned during my marriage and even signed up for a pottery class to distract myself. I have a new neighbor, Evan, who moved into our building a couple of months ago. He noticed I was down and invited me for coffee. It's not a date, but it was the first time in a long time I felt normal. I smiled. I'd forgotten what that felt like. The end of finally found peace. The truth was horrific, but it set me free. I know Tom and Linda were victims of circumstance. Their parents tried to protect them but created a monster. I don't blame them for their feelings, but I'll never forgive their lies and betrayal. I've learned to value myself and my life. I'm planning to move to a new city next year, start fresh. Maybe even get a dog. I've always wanted one. Thank you, Reddit, for walking this journey with me. Your advice, support, and even your grab the popcorn comments helped me stay strong. I'm closing this chapter of my life and moving forward. If you have similar stories or advice on starting a new life, please share. I'm a newbie at this now. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new stories.